Wonderful. I welcome you to our monthly broadcast at Anselmo Academy and greatly appreciate you tuning in support of this initiative. Today, we present our guest, Martin Labazevitch, esteemed pianist and pedagogue originally from Poland. Welcome, Martin. Please say hello.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you for joining us. By the way, you just heard Rachmaninoff "Здесь хорошо," which translates into "It feels good here," Opus 21, number 7, transcription by Volodos, performed by Martin. We will be featuring our guest bio, pictures, videos, and a dialogue in a few minutes. But first, we have a couple of announcements from Anselmo Academy. Our winter-spring enrollment is open and ongoing for private lessons, and we offer lessons throughout New York and New Jersey, New York, all boroughs, New Jersey, plus Westchester and Rockland County. Please connect with us at our website, anselmoacademy.org. And thank you very much for sharing this flyer. Our annual student showcases registration is now open for any budding musicians wanting to perform in Manhattan on March 15, 2026 at the Church of Christ and St. Stephen's. And for the first time, since we no longer run Anselmo competition, we dedicating 6:30 p.m. recital to competition alumni who have participated and have won prizes and awards at our competition throughout the years. So we have 3 events on March 15th at 2:30 and 4:30 student showcases of our students, and also we welcome any guest students wanting to perform. It's a fundraiser for Anselmo Academy, and the competition alumni recital will be at 6:30 p.m. Anselmo Academy is a non-profit 501c3 organization. We are celebrating our 25th year anniversary, and we specialize in organizing various group classes at local schools and communities throughout New York and New Jersey. We serve hundreds of students every week at various programs. And we send teachers to those locations, and our programs vary from large group classes in general music to small group classes dedicated to learning various instruments like piano, violin, guitar, musical theater, choir, recorder, and much more. Wonderful. Please subscribe to our social media platforms to follow our events and happenings, and subscribe to our 2 e-newsletters that you can find at anselmoacademy.org homepage, bottom right. We have 2 e-newsletters. One is called Academic Newsletter, where monthly we feature all ongoing classes, programs, and events. And the second e-newsletter is called On Stage, where among our own announcements, we also feature guests like Martin you see today, and we organize this kind of broadcasts once a month by featuring esteemed musicians from around the world where they share their musical journey. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope you enjoy our program today. Great. Can we please have Martin's profile picture as I go to his bio? Thank you. Praised by critics for his lyricism, virtuosity, and intensity of performance, pianist Martin Labazevitch appeared in many concert halls and festivals in Poland, Ukraine, Finland, Germany, Austria, Italy, Spain, Israel, Japan, South Korea, Peru, and the United States. Born in Poland, Mr. Labazevitch studied at the Odessa Conservatory in Ukraine and at the Manhattan School of Music in New York. In 2019, he received Doctor of Musical Arts degree from the Rome School of Music, Drama and Art in Washington, D.C. His main teachers and mentors include Nina Svetlanova, Horatio Guterres, Dmitry Bashkirov, Bela Davidovich, and Jorge Luis Prats. He has been a soloist with orchestras in Spain, Poland, Lithuania, Japan, and the United States. Of his debut album release on the Delos label, at the Chopin Concerto with the Beethoven Academy Orchestra led by Eva Strusinska, Fanfare magazine wrote, his way of Chopin is fluid and convincing. He plays with a superb control of rubato and has the most beautiful way of melting a phrase. Martin is recipient of the Harold Bauer Award for the most promising pianist at the Manhattan School of Music, grand prize at the Arts International Competition in New York, winner of the Largesse Foundation auditions in Washington, D.C., as well as the winner of the Rome School of Music Concerto Competition in Washington, D.C., performing Brahms Piano Concerto No. 1, Opus 15. An avid chamber musician, he has collaborated with Isadore Cohen, Lucas Foss, Ruth Laredo, Andres Cardenas, Amit Paled, Ju Young Baek, Michael Mermegan, as well as the Spokane and Vilnius string quartets. After his piano trio debut at Carnegie Hall while Recital Hall, the Strad magazine wrote, exuberant, multifaceted, gripping from first note to the last. Martin has worked with several prominent contemporary composers such as Lucas Foss, Richard Daniel Poor, and Laurie Lightman. Performance highlights of the recent season include Zanking Hall at Carnegie Hall in New York, Terrace Theater at Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., the Meyer Hatch Series in Chicago, Chopin Foundation in Miami, and the Philharmonic Society of Lima, Peru. An enthusiastic educator, Mr. Labazevitch has been sharing his passion for the teaching with students at the Levine School of Music in Washington, D.C. He's also the founder of the Berkshire Piano Academy in Massachusetts, as well as the artistic director of the Kartushka Foundation Chopin Piano Competition and Chopin Piano Academy in Washington, D.C., the oldest Chopin contest in the United States, of which Van Cliburn, Murray Pariah, Kirill Gerstein, and many other luminaries of the piano world became the laureates. In 2022, Mr. Labazevitch co-founded the Pidirovsky Academy, a pioneer hybrid piano academy based in Zurich, Switzerland. Mr. Labazevitch is a Steinway artist. And next, we have a second video of Chopin songs, Opus 74, performed by Martin with Magdalene War. Take a look. Wonderful. So next we have a dialogue portion of this broadcast, and Martin, I sent you some questions, so let's begin. So please share your musical journey from childhood to the present moment, your family, your upbringing, your teachers, schooling, anything you'd like to share.
Well, it's a long journey, and thank you for asking. Well, as you mentioned, I was born in Poland, and also this is the place where I sort of made my first musical steps. At the age of, I think, 4 or 5, my grandfather, who was sort of an amateur musician, decided that I have a musical talent because he saw me picking up some tunes that I heard on TV on the piano. My mother played a little bit of the piano, but none of my family members are musicians. And this is how it started. He sent me to music school, and I think I was 5 when I started taking lessons, and it's been fun ever since. I took initial classes in Poland. Then I had this teacher that was coming to Poland from Odessa Conservatory, which I really, really loved. He was really, really inspiring, and just a fantastic human being. And he offered to take me under his wing. The only problem was that I was 16 years old, and this idea would require me traveling to Odessa by myself, and just living there all of a sudden without knowing the language at that time. And I did, to the horror of my mother, who was completely frightened that I want to travel by myself. I somehow managed to do it and convince her, and they sent me to Odessa, and I spent 3 years there, studying with Anatoly Kardashev, who was a student of Maria Starkova, who was a very famous pedagogue in Odessa Conservatory. She had several famous and fantastic pianists, but one of them was Jakub Zak, who later on became a laureate of the Chopin competition, and he studied with Heinrich Neuhaus in Moscow. This was my first teacher over there in the East. Very inspiring times for me, because Odessa was sort of a sacred town for me, because my heroes were from Odessa. Some people like Emil Giller, Sviatoslav Richter, David Oistrach, they all hailed from that town. So this town was very, very special for me. And every corner of the street was a magical place. But in the meantime, I got sort of a bug, and I fell in love with New York City. I visited New York City, and I completely fell in love with it, with the energy of the town and everything that had to do with it. And I decided to move to to United States to study there. My teacher did not like the idea, but eventually, of course, I'm very happy I made this decision, and I came to New York to study with Nina Svetlanova at Manhattan School of Music. She was another student of Neuhaus, which was sort of, Neuhaus was a very important, even though, of course, I never met him, but he was. It seems like for me, it feels like I did, because I read his book, The Art of Piano, when I was maybe 14 or 15, and I completely was taken by every message that he was saying, all the stories that he was talking about, all the comparisons, all the analogies that he was making between piano and art and literature and poetry and everything. I mean, it was just so inspiring. I wanted to find out everything about this man, and this is actually why my fascination with Odessa started, because I knew that Richter and Gilles, they were from Odessa. So Odessa sort of started my musical journey. Then when I found out that Nina is a student of Neuhaus, I was completely fixated on the fact that I want to study with her. So I came to New York and spent another 3 fantastic years with Nina. again, learned so much, not only pianistically, but also she was a great storyteller, and she always talked to us about poetry. She spent a lot of times traveling with Zara Doluchanova, performing art songs, and she knew every single poem that they performed together, to the music of Rachmaninoff or Tchaikovsky, and then she was always talking about this. She knew and loved the opera, and always talked to us about opera, Russian music especially. So this was also another fantastic 3 years that I spent with Nina, and then I felt like I needed a change, and I changed a teacher to Horacio Gutierrez, who's a Cuban American pianist, who just started teaching at that time at the Manhattan School of Music, and I absolutely fell in love with his performances of Prokofiev Concerti or Rachmaninoff Concerti, and I reached out to him, and he agreed to take me. And I spent many years. Actually, my lessons did not stop until maybe a few years ago. Maybe, I think before the pandemic, I had my last class with him. But we still are in touch, and we talk, and sometimes I consult with him certain things. He's a wonderful human being, a miraculous pianist, extremely generous person. He was a student of Tarnowski, who was a teacher of Horowitz, actually. And so there is also this Russian connection there, and in his background. Then he studied with Adel Marcus at the Juilliard School. That was my definitely great inspiration in New York. But besides that, I was very fortunate to know just incredible musicians living in New York. I met Bela Davidovich, who was always, I was always a fan of hers. My grandparents had recordings of her Chopin, when I was a toddler. I remember these LPs in our house, and I was so privileged to meet her and play for her many times. I would visit her apartment. We would go for walks. She would, again, a fantastic storyteller. She would always talk about these beautiful moments in Moscow when she met these fantastic musicians that she knew personally. She was a winner of Chopin competition, co-winner of the Chopin competition in 1949 with Halina Czerny-Stefańska. We worked on many Chopin pieces together with Bela. Another very important pianist that kind of inspired me as well was Dmitry Bashkirov, whom I met through Nina, and I went to his summer classes in Salzburg in 2001, 2, and 3. So this was another. He was coming from another school in Moscow. He was the very famous school of Goldenweiser, which was a sort of parallel school of Neuhaus at that time. So that was also a great inspiration and influence. I remember these lessons very vividly. He could be very harsh, but if you had a distance to what he was saying and how he was delivering it, it was fantastic. So these were sort of my teachers when and inspirations when I was in New York. Then I met an incredible pianist. I used to run a festival in Puerto Rico, and we invited many great artists. And one of them was Jorge Luis Prats, who is another Cuban virtuoso. And I met him there, and we became friends overnight, and we were still in touch. Actually, he was texting me this morning. We talk about music and smoke cigars together and until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and play music for each other. And he was definitely, and he still is, a great inspiration for me. Incredibly generous human being and artist of, I would say, the Belle Epoque, the golden age of piano playing, from 120 years ago, this kind of style. And I loved that. I always loved that approach to music. So these were sort of names and people that influenced me and shaped me. I can say I'm really, really fortunate that I was able to come across people like this in my life. So and of course there are so many others. Now that I think about other people, when I lived in New York, my chamber music teacher was Ruth Laredo, who was a great American pianist, and she had a cat in her house, and she was touring a lot. And when I came to her to one of the chamber coaching, she says, I loved animals always. And then she says, "Oh, you're fine with cats. How about when I travel, you're going to house sit for my cat." So her apartment sort of became my second apartment when I lived in Manhattan. So she had two beautiful stymies. I always was practicing there, and we talked about music a lot. And then she was also a great inspiration. I played four hands with her. I remember playing a Schubert Fantasy with her. So her and another great pianist that I always also turn to some advice from is Jeffrey Swan, another great American pianist. Laureate of the Chopin competition from 1970 as well. So yes, I was very fortunate to meet all these wonderful people in my life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. So next question. So what were your dreams way back when, and how did it change over the years?
So I only had a one dream when I remember maybe 15 years old, and it all happened at the same time. Me reading Neuhaus books and hearing some recordings of Gielers, and this sort of hit me when I was around 15 years old that I just want to be a musician, and it doesn't really matter what do I do, whether I teach, play, Rachmaninoff Concerto Number 3 every other day with Berlin Philharmonic, or just, teach theory class somewhere. It didn't matter to me. I just needed to be around music.
That's it. An
That's up,
apartment. That's
yeah,
it.
absolutely it. I didn't really have any specific goals except that I just wanted to be surrounded by music for the rest of my life, and that has never changed ever since then.
Wonderful. Great. So what message are you sending to the world? Not necessarily only through your playing, but maybe through your students, through your teaching. What is your message?
So, something that I did, something I have to correct myself. So, something that has changed since then a little bit is that I discovered my love for pedagogy, for teaching, for working with another musician. And that came to me around when I was maybe 20 years old, 21 years old. I taught my first lesson when I was, I think, 21. I discovered through the years that, especially nowadays, which is, from once, the times are changing, of course, so we have to adjust. But, when we were studying music, we were doing it purely for the love of music, at least me, and people that I knew at that time. Now everybody has like a hidden agenda, they want a quick success, they want quick results, and it's, of course it's great when I believe goals are important, and achieving goals is very, very important. But when it's disconnected with the love for music and kind of naive love for music, without asking anything else in return, then I feel a little disconnect there. And unfortunately, I see that a lot these days. People basically take music lessons to win competitions, and I think it's important. I think it's important to win competitions or to participate and prepare for them. But I think the primarily we should do this for the love and the beauty, and to become better human beings and better, I don't know, musicians. And this should be the purpose of what we're doing, not to win the competitions. But so my message to the world, if the world is listening, is to maybe take a step back and think and see and ask yourself why you're doing this, and just take a look around. I know everything is going so fast these days. We're on YouTube and social media and TikToks and all of these things, and everything lasts 7 seconds only. But I think we should take a step back and think, and maybe have some retrospection in our search and in our journey, because it's going too fast. So my when I think about working with students, students want quick results, and I think at the end it's not good. I think it's everything that's important takes time. Everything that's in the history, historically speaking, everything that was important, that was created, took a lot of time. And same with the art of music. I mean, it takes a lifetime. So
Fantastic message. Thank you. Tell us about any upcoming events, whether it's you performing or your students performing, or festivals, or anything that you're
yeah,
organizing that's coming up.
it's a lot, actually. It's a lot. I'll be actually performing. I know you're in New York. I'll be performing in New York next week, on the 12th. And then the 14th, I'm coming back on the 13th and
Please
14th.
share. Please share a flyer. We can post it on our social media. Maybe
Sure.
some of our
Yeah.
staff students might want to attend.
It's
Yes.
at the Polish embassy, Polish consulate in New York. A wonderful event that is put together by Konstantin Orbelian, actually. So, of course, and then 2 days later, I'm playing Mozart double concerto here in DC, and then we are with Amit Palet, who's a wonderful cellist and colleague of mine. We're performing in Seattle, 2 concerts. In the Seattle Chamber Society, and then we're coming back playing here in Virginia, and then we're going to Poland for 3 concerts in Stalowa Wola, in Warsaw, and Gdańsk together. So it's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of things, and plus, of course, I have a full studio of wonderful pianists that I work with daily, and they have competitions left and right, so it's very, very busy, always preparing someone. I have students right now playing in the Cleveland first round Cleveland competition. Then it's the Gina Bachauer. I'm sorry, first is Hilton Head, and it's Gina Bachauer, and MTNA finals, and so a lot of things are happening. Now, from the events that I organize, a few years ago I started a new project with my colleague Golda Weinberg-Tatz. We're doing a summer academy for pianists in the Berkshires in Massachusetts. It's called the Berkshire Piano Academy. You can check it out on our website, and we already have plans for this year. It's going to happen from August 9th until the August 15th. And the information will be on our website soon. So this is in August. Also, I'm an artistic director of the Chopin piano competition, Kościuszko Foundation Chopin piano competition, and it will take in October 2027 in Washington, D.C. Wonderful event. As you mentioned earlier, it's the oldest Chopin contest in the United States. So, and one of the first winners of this competition is Van Cliburn. And we had already 2 events here, 2 competitions here, and the next one will be 2027. And it's from the age of 17 until the 30 years of age. So And you play only Chopin except for one work by Karol Szymanowski, which is required, and then the Chopin concerto in the finals. So we will be also posting that soon.
Great, thank you. So about young musicians, you already talked, but I'd like for you to expand if you can. What should the core values be of musicians today?
I mean, I think integrity, integrity with the composer, and following his path and following his directions, and being really, really prepared before starting in every piece. It's not just the notes. Notes come later. First, you have to know who are you playing and get to know the person and read about him, and read, listen to his symphonies and listen to his chamber music before even you play a Beethoven sonata. You should know what was happening before that sonata. So I always encourage this, and I always try to give assignments to students. To read about the pieces, and or listen to other stuff that he wrote around the time when he wrote the first particular piece. So integrity, of course, knowing why he puts a tenuto there, why there's a slur, and when there is no slur, why there is no slur. What does it mean when Chopin writes, staccato? Is it the same staccato as in Scarlatti or in, I don't know, Haydn? So stuff like this, I try to always encourage to be truthful to the text, and know, so every composer has their own sort of legend, and every articulation mark means different things with different composers, and I think students should know that. This is how, when you hear a pianist play a wonderful Haydn sonata, you can tell that he's versed with the style, knowing the composer, except, and not only wonderful fingers and playing what's written, but he knows what he's doing, or she knows what she's doing. So being, integrity with the composer, definitely.
Wonderful. Can I have some pop-up questions?
Sure, pop-up
I
questions.
think we have time. What's your most hated word?
Hated, hate is my hated word, but
Anything you
yes.
hate? Anything you hate at all?
No, no, no.
Nothing.
I try to refrain myself from that, because that brings such a negative energy. I can't. I mean, of course, these days you watch some news and you start to feel in a certain way, but I try to sort of go away from this. I try not to hate anything. So hate definitely, and this is something that we see around so much these days. In the news and social media, so I would say hate. Yeah, that's a word that
Okay.
I react to very strongly to.
So then another question, what's your favorite word?
I would go to the opposite, love.
Very well.
Absolutely, because this gives us so much strength to do certain things that we in our profession. I cannot imagine doing music without loving it unconditionally, or being with someone without loving them unconditionally. So I think love. So those two words, they
Love
sort of.
and hate. How classic. Yes. What makes you happy?
You know what? Uh, when I am clean with myself, meaning I always follow what I wanted to do and never look around, and I'm kind of following certain things that I put myself, goals for the day, and when I achieve those goals, and it's the end of the day, and I look at my schedule and I did everything that I wanted to do, that makes me happy.
Very well. Um, let's see. Mm, yeah, I think I don't have any more any more questions. I appreciate you sharing all the interesting details about your life. Next, we have a picture gallery
Okay,
of the pictures you sent us. So as we go through them, say a
sure.
couple of words about each one.
Oh, this is an incredible photo. This is with Nina Svetlanova, and I just love the way she looks at me here. I was so young, must have been maybe 21, when this photo was taken. I see wonderful friends around. I still keep in touch here. This is in Finland. Nina Svetlanova used to have master classes in Finland, and all her students from Manhattan School of Music used to go there, and we had fantastic time. I see Vika there. I see her husband. I see Grace. I see Julia. Yeah, wonderful people. Oh yes, this is from Salzburg. This is with Maestro Bashkirov. Could tell how tense I am because I'm so afraid of him.
I
But
know what you mean about him. Yeah. Hmm.
yes, he was actually, he had a fantastic heart. I really believe so. People were afraid of him, but and you can tell that I was also right now. But it took me some time to sort of relax around him. But he could be harsh, but he had a really wonderful heart, and he just knew music like nobody. I remember one thing that he told me that I always think about is that if you want to play Liszt and Chopin and Schumann and all these great romantic pieces, you have to start and play a lot of Beethoven and Haydn. That's because this is how you learn how to read the score, you learn discipline, how to read the score. And I always tell it to my students daily. Oh yes, this is recent. This is with Antoni Kleczek, who's my student. Not anymore. He after 6 years he went to college and is studying with a wonderful pianist and a friend of mine, Piotr Paleczny, in Warsaw Academy, Warsaw University. And this is at the Chopin competition. So 3 years ago, we decided to prepare for a Chopin competition, and at that time he was what? He was 15. And I saw an incredible potential in him. And then I said, let's try, let's give it a try. And yeah, he learned all the repertoire, and we just decided to give it a go. And first he started with national competition. Well, he did it here in Miami, national competition, and he got into semifinals, and he almost got into finals, but there was just a point something, 0 point something that he didn't make it to the finals. But that already was a great achievement. And then he went on to do a national competition that is usually organized by the Chopin Foundation in Poland. They organize Chopin competition, sort of pre-Chopin competition for only Polish contestants, and he has dual citizenship. He's a Polish American, so he was able to participate there, and he got into the finals, and he got a third prize, and he was able to perform at the National Philharmonic Hall with the National Philharmonic Orchestra playing Chopin Concerto No. 2, which was an incredible achievement. And then he was able to qualify for the Chopin competition. Out of 600 something applicants, he was one of the 84 people that he was accepted. So that was an amazing achievement. And he played. It was a great honor to be there with him. I went to Warsaw, of course, and I listened to his first round. He played beautifully. Unfortunately, he didn't make it to the second round, but still, I mean, he's very young, and he can go there maybe 2 or 3 more times if he wants to. But it was an amazing experience to be there with him. Yes, this is uh, so this is right before this is at the Chopin competition, and because I know one of the jury members, he was getting me these super VIP seats, which were right behind the jury members. So this was my view for the stage during the Chopin competition. I have to tell you, this was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, because I've been watching Chopin competitions since I was, of course, maybe 12 or so, but to be there, it was another story. I've never experienced anything like this. I've never experienced such a tension, and never experienced, when you're there in Warsaw, everything becomes Chopin. You go to a restaurant, you hear Chopin. You go to buy groceries, they have TVs where they play Chopin competition. You go to a bus going from one place to another. There is a pianist playing in the bus, because they have pianos. It's the whole town lives the Chopin competition. So it was an incredible experience for me to be there during that time and experience this and hear all these amazing, talented pianists perform, and it was very inspiring. Yes, Bela Davidovich. This is one of our sort of, I would go and play for her, and then afterwards she was like, "Okay, but now can you go with me to Zabers and can you help me with some groceries?" And then we would go to Zabers, and I would help her carry the groceries, and then we would, on the way back home, we'd stop by. This is her favorite place now. Because they had fantastic Ukrainian borscht there, and we used to go there. I think it's called Popover. I'm not sure if they exist. It was on
It
Amsterdam.
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So we used to. She loved that place, and we would go there for borscht and coffee. So this is one of our. And she would talk and talk and talk, and it was amazing. Yeah, I loved those moments with Bela Davidovich. Oh, and this is my teacher Horacio. Yes. So uh, one of the last times I heard him play, he doesn't play anymore publicly. He still records, but due to back injury, he quit performing publicly. And this is the last time I heard him play. It was in North Carolina in the festival there. I drove from DC to hear him play Brahms' second concerto. It was an amazing experience to hear him play. I've heard him play several times, with different orchestras, but this was very special, and it was one of his last performances ever. Jeffrey Swan. This is last year actually. He's telling me something important here. Probably asking me question. I have no idea what he's talking about, because he knows everything about everything. And this is in Berkshires, where during our festival he came and gave a fantastic recital for our students and master classes, and this is during I think this is right before his recital. Yeah. And Jorge, yes, Jorge Luis Prats. This is in Puerto Rico. One of the because we invited him many times to come there and play, and you cannot see, but he's probably holding a cigar in the right hand. But yeah, this is our happy moments with Jorge in Puerto Rico. Incredible pianist, as I mentioned before. One of those pianists that really we don't have many of those anymore. Maybe I can think of maybe one other name that plays in the style of his very special person.
And we have a video of you performing a piece by Felix Rubitsky.
Rybitsky, yes. So
Rubitsky.
so this
Tell
is
us a little bit about this composer. I never heard of.
yes.
Yeah.
So Felix Rybitsky is a composer that passed, I think, in 1978. But here in DC, I played a concert many years ago, and a lady came up to me after the concert and asked me if I could play some of her father's compositions. And as we pianists, we sometimes play, and then somebody comes and, can you play my music? And it's usually time for us to leave, because this is usually not very good. Or, but maybe I'm being harsh. But she told me, oh, you know, my father, he passed away, but I still have lots of his music, you know, his name is Felix Rybicki. And then I had this sort of, my brain went 40 years or whatever, 30 years back. Because when I was a child in Poland, my teacher would give me compositions of Felix Rybicki. And those were pieces for young children. And all of us actually were playing these pieces. Actually, at that moment, I hated his music because I wanted to play Chopin and Mozart and other things. And my teacher would never give it to me. Just she only would give me the Rybicki. And I have never heard that composer since I was maybe 6 or 7. And there, this woman was asking to play his music, and I remember I went to her house. She lives here in near DC, and she just played this music for me, showed me some manuscripts, and I fell in love with this music. Especially, she wanted me to play his vocal music, his songs, with a friend of mine, with Magdalena, whom the video you showed. And the songs are just so beautiful. They kind of a mix of the tangos of the 20s, or Tchaikovsky, you know, some Rachmaninoff influences, some Chopin influences, some, you know, all kinds of mix, all kinds of styles. Beautiful, beautiful music, beautiful poetry. And I agreed, of course. I said, sure, let's do it. And she's like, maybe you guys could record. So we put together a recital program where I played some of his solo works, written for the children pieces. I mean, young, you know, like for teenagers, and songs. And then we went to play a recital in Warsaw. And in Warsaw, I stayed at his house, at this composer's house. And I remember being around the piano, and there was like a pile of dusted music. And I looked out and I see those 3 preludes. And the concert was the next day. And I'm like, what is this? Why couldn't you give me this music? Sounds so amazing. Sounds like Scriabin. It's so beautiful.
Mhm.
I said, oh, I did not even see it. There's so much music here. I didn't even see it. So I practiced it that night, and I played one of those preludes. I don't know which one you're going to play, but I played one of those preludes the next day at the concert because I loved it so much. And then I learned all 3, and we recorded it with Magda last summer in Georgia, and I think the album will come out this year. This is the
Yeah,
composer, Felix
yeah,
Rybicki.
yeah. Let's hear it. Wonderful. And we have one more video, another transcription. Sensons Gadowski, this one. Take a listen. Thanks so much, Martin, for joining
Happy,
us.
it's actually happy early birthday to Mr. Godowski because his birthday is next week. So
Wonderful. Yes. Thanks so much for joining us. It's
thank
been
you.
an honor to host you, and
Honor to be here.
thanks for sharing your story. And we hope it inspires. As a matter of fact, I'm sure it will inspire many young musicians to propel forward in with the best intentions of happiness, love, not hate. And
Thank you, dear.
prosperity in music. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and it
Thank you
was
so
very
much.
nice to meet you.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care.